Hello everyone, welcome back to the third installment in this series of devlogs. Today I will tell you what I worked on last week and what has changed and happened in the game. So, the most exciting part of what changed is the world generation, which you can see here in the background. It's an actual world and it generates. And in this world, first the terrain is generated, then the locations, then the factions are spawned in one location and then they claim land around them, and that's how they take over the world initially. And now you have the factions spread out across the world, and that's how the game would start. And the factions are also generated, but the generation isn't amazing yet. So right now you only have a bit of a title, which isn't really accurate either. And a ruler is supposed to be here. It's gonna come, and then all the statistics and the relations between factions will be on this panel. And the journeys are here. And as you can see, the art style for the journeys has changed a little bit. I went through... Oh yeah, and the menus have changed, of course. I went through changing the menus, and while I was doing that, I was thinking about changing the entire art style of the menus. So I did that for a while, but then I went back again and changed it to this style, because I think this looks way better. This is just the old way it was done, and I'm not sure if I'll change anything about this really. Maybe make it a bit bigger to add more information onto it, but that's about it, I think. And yeah, there is a bottom menu right here, and as you can see, you have map, factions, and player, and two tabs that say coming soon and very soon. Those will be things like the marketplace and the smithing and enchanting, crafting part of the game. So those will all be menus that overlay over the map, because I'm gonna try to make the map look really good. Right now it looks pretty good already, but as you can see, there are kind of tiny mistakes here and there where it doesn't really... It should take over this little tiny bit here, but it doesn't. But I can fix that. And the border is a bit weird. As you can see, this little square is lighter than this little square. That's because I just crudely made this border, but I can fix it to make it look nicer and overlay the icon of the faction over the border, or over the realm, which will look good. And then you can have modes. So like you have just terrain mode, which gets rid of the influences of the factions. Then you have a faction mode, which adds them back in. Then you have maybe a map mode, where instead of it looking like grass and sand and mountains and stuff, you can make it look like a map. So yeah, that's what's gonna come in the future. Maybe next week. I don't think so, but definitely in the future. Yeah. So the faction select screen, which it was in the previous video, like on the right, and then you click on it and then you get the journeys, that's changed into this little box over here, where you can just click the icon and then the giant menu will change, and then all the info here will change as well, and of course the journeys will change. That's where the faction selection menu has gone. Also the faction boxes, so like this, but for factions, they have disappeared. They are really just these tiny icons now. And I can tell you a bit about the faction generation, even though there isn't really much faction generation going on right here. But the way it's gonna work out is you give it a nationalism score and an order score from 0 to 100. So like 100 is really nationalistic, and that determines if they are also aggressive and stuff. So if they're really nationalistic and chaotic, then they're really aggressive. And if they're really nationalistic, really orderly, then they're like the Nords or the elves in Skyrim, the high elves, the really like we're the best race kind of people. And that defines the whole nation. And then like every location can have an amount of people and also a race divergence. And then when a faction takes over a lot of locations that are not of their race, but they're really like elvish, high elves people, like pretty racist, then those people might rise up against them, those oppressed races, and you can spawn a new faction which will join the game, and you could join them and be like really righteous and stuff, and they might be the most democratic nation in the continent. And if you want to be a good guy, you can join them, I guess. Like that, things like that can happen in the future, not right now. But yes, so you have this nationalism score and this chaos order score, and if you're like, the opposite of nationalism is like cooperation and globalism. So if you're really globalist and chaotic, then you're like this bizarre haggling trading nation, and you just have really good markets and try to love everyone, but you're not really good in defenses and stuff. That's how I see the faction generation, and that's how it's gonna be developed in the following weeks. If I'm not sure if it's gonna be 1 week or multiple weeks, but we'll see. Yes. So yeah, this is the most exciting part. I can go through more maps, but yeah. And those icons are just really generic. I will change them into something that fits the statistics of the faction, like the ethos of the faction. Yes. So we're in Alpha V 0.3.0.5, and I predict for next week it's gonna be something like V 3.2. We'll see. Yes, that has been the devlog number 3. Thank you for watching. Thank you for keeping up, subscribing, and I will see you next week. Have a good day. Goodbye.